Welcome back, this is Nerd Dad, and we are episode 2 of our Factorio playthrough. So we got our power up and running, and now we've got to start thinking about how we're going to lay out our ore processing. But to do that, we're going to need a bunch of these stone furnaces. And we're going to probably need quite a bit more ore, etc. as well for inserters and transport belts. And that's okay, we'll get there. We're just going to do this really quickly. I'll do a little bit of running. In fact, what we'll do is we'll get a bunch of these being built. Yeah, we'll just build them all. Might have a little bit of wastage there, but we will use them eventually anyway, so I'm not worried about it. And since our coal is stopped, let's quickly get that coal all in our hands. And make sure we keep these two burners over here going. They will be probably sufficient. They'll be close. So we'll just quickly do this. Split it in half. Split, split, split. Split. Split in half, and I just split it in half twice. There we go, about half and half. And we got, what do we got, 134. I mean, in theory, we could throw a couple more burners on there just to make sure we're going to have what we need, but we should be just fine. So where are we going to build everything? Well, starting to think about this a little bit. Now, we've got lots of space up here, but we've also got quite a bit of space down here. Now, if we go up this side, it's a great place for our bus. We could put our ore processing down here. There's a bit of trees to deal with at the beginning, but maybe not so many later on. This one's got probably lots of space for us to build at the beginning, and then we've got to get into clearing trees. So it's sort of 6 of one, half dozen another. What I'm thinking we might do is maybe build our ore processing in here, and then put our bus coming out through this way, and that would allow us a space here for our copper, and we could put our steel in there. So I think that's what we're going to do. All right. Let's commit. We will commit by quickly throwing down some pickaxe. That's what we'll do. We'll throw some pickaxe hurt down on this rock. That's what we're going to do. Another victory for us against the world of stone. Okay. So let's just start about here. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to get about 10 of these. Now you can see that I'm spacing these out. I will explain all of that very quickly. I just want to kind of get it laid out really quickly for us. 8, 9, 10. And then what we're going to do is, so what I'm doing is I'm kind of laying out the outside edge right now. So this is going to be our feeder line to the ore. And right now we're out, and that's about as far as we're going to get until we get a bunch of stuff built. Alright, so let's get 20 of those, and we'll put the rest into transport belts for now. Not perfect, but it will do. And we're going to do this. And so while we're waiting for that to be built, I'm going to try to explain without all the parts what I'm doing here. And so what's going to happen is if you imagine a transport line's coming down here, taking out our iron plate, and if we have a transport line coming in here, later on we are going to get electric furnaces. And so stone furnace is a 2x2. Electric furnace is a 3x3. So all we're doing is we just have to come in later on. We just have to move out our inserter out to the edge, and what you'll see is we're going to have a 3x3 grid. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's our 3x3 grid. So it allows us to upgrade to electrical without having to relay out our whole grid. We just basically can come in, pick up these pieces here. We can leave all these inserters on the one side. The feeder line can stay the same, and we don't have to do like a mass relaying out of the system. So it's good in that you don't have to change your feeder lines or your output lines. It's just basically you're just replacing those things that you want to replace, and a couple extra things because of the size, because of the footprint. Okay, and we're starting to get there, and just do that. And then we're just going to run this down. Now it's going to be a little bit weird in that we're going to feed and we're going to pull going the same direction. Typically I run out one way, but because we're going to want to run our bus down to the south here, we're actually going to come in here and feed across. Now that does mean we're going to need to get some logistics up and running pretty quickly, because we're going to need tunnels to get this done. The good news is I don't worry about that right at the beginning. I don't worry about starting the bus quite yet and the logistics. And I think I used all the coal. No, I just didn't keep this one filled up. Bad dad. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to actually box everything for right now. And so we're just going to get that. We're going to get a few boxes. And what you're going to see is, we're going to need a bunch of miners too here eventually. Just need to get these built really quickly, and we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, and is it 3? Is 3 the magic number? No, 4 is the magic number. I had to think it through for a second. So what we need is, to pull off the line, we're going to want 4 boxes. 3 isn't quite enough. 5 is too many. That's why we're using 4. Gee, that was rhetorical and didn't really need to be said. So there we go. We got power, except for we don't have power because we haven't run it from the far side yet, and that's okay as well. We're just going to do something like this. We'll just hopscotch this over here. And there's our coal being full again, so that's good. I think we'll just take this down south where the bananas grow. Okay, and that should give us power. Yep, we've got power. Let's grab some coal on the way by, make sure that we keep our ore over here fed. It's, you know, you can see that it's giving us enough to kind of, you know, keep up with our building right now, and that's all we really need at this point. We don't need to get so far ahead of ourselves at this point, at least. We just need to keep up with how fast we can build. So if you can build faster than me, then you might need more things. You might need more of these burners and furnace combinations. Okay, so that is basically our ore setup. So what we want to get now is we want to get, well, more than 2 miners, but we'll start with 2. That's okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little T-intersection on this one. One for the input of the ore, and one for the input of the coal. Goodness, was that hard to figure out? Yes, it was. Okay, so we'll just drop one here. So now we want to start looking at what's it going to look like when we get all of our miners laid out. So we got to do a little bit of a look at, and you know, looking at this one, I think I would normally run this one north-south. It's kind of got this weird little, it almost looks like a speech bubble, where if my head was down here, this would be my speech bubble. It's kind of a strange layout. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to go a little north-south on this. Well, now we'll go east-west. Okay, left, right, east-west, whatever we want to call it. We're going to come in from here. And consequences might be that we only end up with half of a thing on here because I'm not going to figure it out. I'm just going to go for the gold here. Or am I going to figure it out? I'll just do that. And 2. That'll put us about there. That's going to be close enough. And you won't lay down because I'm standing in the way. You won't do it because what now? What's your problem? There is a log there buried in the woods. I was going, there's got to be something in the way. Lay it out. Down 2. Right on the back, right there. Close enough. I think that should do it. Yes, put a chest right in front of it, because that would be smart. Okay, and then we'll just bring this here like this. There's our line. Really quickly done. Grab in a telephone pole. And we'll just grab another one there. And we're actually got ore coming in, so that's great. So our big hindrance right now is going to be able to get enough... we need to get the coal over here because right now we're sort of drying out a little bit. So this might be the one time where I'm kind of looking at it going, oh, maybe if I'd built a couple more drills I would have had this. Funny thing is I noticed that right now we've got a bit of extra ore in here, so what we're going to do is we're going to bleed that out. And we're just going to pitch it in here and just get that burnt off. That'll give us a little bit of extra ore that we want. May as well use it if we got it, eh? Smoke them if you got them. Okay, not exactly the same. Okay, let's quickly run this over here. That's about as far as we're going. Yes. Yep, we're kind of not keeping up. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to pull these 2 off of here right now because they're kind of right where I want to build this, I think. And I'll just pitch these down over in this corner here for now. Not too worried about the fact that... There we go. Just get that feeding the other one. It'll be good. And then we're just going to kind of look at this and say, okay, where would I put this on the bottom? About there. The flip side's going to be right there, which is what I was hoping for. That's actually perfect, bang on what I wanted. And our output line can just kind of run along like this. It's a little bit off kilter there, but that's okay. We'll just jog it down one. And we'll just run down the track to make a little bit of speed. Clunk, clunk. That one's empty now. Alright, do we have enough? Yes, we've got enough. And now we should be able to get our coal in, and we should have our first ore processing facility set up. There we go. We've got the ore in there. It's already backlogged. You can see that these are all waiting for things. They've all got a couple sitting inside. Now we just got to get a bunch more miners up and running. So how many miners do we want? That's the big question. Well, I can save you all the math, and I can tell you that it's not quite a 2-to-1 ratio. It's actually a little bit more. You want we're going to want to put 6 miners down. The math works out to, for these 10 burners, we're going to want 5.3333 infinity mining drills. And since we can't build 1/3 of a mining drill, we just lay down 6 to make sure that we backlog the line. So for 10, you want 6. Just kind of remember that, and you're good. And it's going to change based on all sorts of things that we're going to add later in the game. If we add speed things to these, that math all changes. But for the start of the game, just remember you want 6 per, and you're golden. I don't worry too much about the coal ones. I find that 1 or 2 will actually keep this line backlogged. For 10, if I flip the side, I'm going to want to put a second one down. And the same thing with the fuel for the power. I kind of just monitor that by eyeball. Okay, so we just need to get a little bit more ore here, and we got a bunch of ore coming out here now. By a bunch, I mean a whole whopping 80, but hey, that's 3 mining drills, and that's getting us closer to where we want to be. So we're getting there, and we will just kick this off this way. And we can put these all on one side. It's not going to hurt us. And you'll see that I'm kind of doing a weird little thing here where I'm going to put a space for every 2. I'm going to go 2 in a space, 2 in a space. And the reason why I do that is because I like to have little channels going up and down. So if I'm going east-west with my drills, now I can go north-south. If I need to run something through here, like if I found that I didn't have enough, outputs, and I say I need to run one of these ores down, I can just run it right down between all my drills because I'm going to get them all in alignment here. So it's just another way for me to move things around. And I need a place to stick the power poles, so it's kind of a joint thing. There's other ways to do it, to mine it more dense. You can also spread them out if you want. If you want to mine this slowly, you just spread out your miners so that the grids, you can see that this grid is now overlapping with the grid for that one. You can make it so that the grids don't overlap, and then that way you're just mining this resource longer, but you're not mining it as quickly, and I prefer to go for the as quick as possible method. Okay, so we're just going to grab a bunch of ore now. So there we go, we're getting up over 100 now. That's really kind of making it quick for us. And we're starting to actually get some speed to this process now. You can see we're quickly, we got to power very quickly. Now we're starting to rocket into our ore processing here. And I just want to get these miners down once they're both built. And just like that. And they both got power right away because of the way we've got that grid set up. And now what we've got to think about is we want to do the same thing for our copper. We're just going to do it. And I'm actually thinking what we'll do is we might actually almost mirror this side and maybe just start down here and just kind of mirror this back and forth. The only downside to doing something like that is that when these lines come down, they're going to have troubles that we're going to have all this copper in the way. So I'm still thinking about, how are we going to do that? Where are we going to do that? And maybe what we want to do is pull the copper down a bit to give ourselves a little bit of space to kind of snake over the ore. Yeah, so you're probably going to want to fit in here. In fact, if we were smart, maybe what we would do is build our first one really close to this copper field here and kind of keep it out of the way. And then that way, we're not going to get into a lot of copper too quickly. So, we could probably lay this out pretty quickly here. All right. Well, we are going to call that episode 2. And we're going to call that episode 2 because we've now got into our ore processing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just finish this up and get us to a position where we're going to get another line of the ore. We're going to have a 2-to-1. We're going to have 2 lines of ore on this one. We're going to have 1 line on the copper. And then we're going to be able to move on from there and build. So yeah, we gotta start thinking about bugs a little bit because we don't have a lot of forest around us. Our pollution's getting up there. If we were to pop up on the map, we can see that our pollution's already starting to climb, and that's going to probably get us not, we're not going to be welcomed by the friendlies for too much longer. They're probably going to start coming and sniffing around the edges, and we've only got a pistol right now, so we're going to want to think about that pretty quickly as well. And we still haven't got into our logic just because of the way I kind of do things. So that's episode 2. I'm Nerd Dad. Again, appreciate any likes. All comments are appreciated. I thank you for joining me, and hopefully you'll join me for episode 3. I'm Nerd Dad. I'm out.